There's no team that I've been on that the number one option don't get the ball during a tie score situation. When LeBron took the ball, it was a tie ball game. It was like 100-100 or something like that. LeBron went for a pick and roll with the white guy, got the white guy on him, drove to the basket. Giannis kept pursuing him, and Giannis said, "Get that out of here." What I'm saying is, during that time, the ball should have been swung to Luka. Luka is the number one option, correct?
When Kwame Brown goes off, he doesn't whisper, he doesn't sugarcoat, and he definitely doesn't play both sides. And this time, his target is LeBron James, the so-called king, the face of the league for 2 decades, and a player who, according to Kwame, is now standing directly in the way of his own team. The question that has everyone arguing isn't whether LeBron is still great. The question is much simpler and way more uncomfortable. Why is LeBron still acting like the number one option when the team clearly has one?
I'm confused on who's the number one option now. LeBron is going up to the free throw line taking free throws when he's a horrible free throw shooter compared to his teammates. Then when it's crunch time, LeBron is having a decent game, but Luka is averaging 30. He's the number one scorer on y'all team. Why doesn't he have the ball?
So here's the real question nobody wants to ask. When the game is on the line, should the ball still be in LeBron James's hands, or has that moment officially passed?
You might need to be a facilitator. And if it gets your team a win, then the media shouldn't come down on you because you didn't have that average. Especially a bunch of people that don't know about basketball. And I think that's what they've done to the minds of our superstars. They screwed them up. They're not real basketball players no more. They just want to get numbers. Well, if they don't, the media going to pick on them. I got to make a certain number to be an all-NBA player.
Facts.
Why would I care about winning? I just want to hit my numbers.
Kwame Brown zeroed in on something that fans keep ignoring because of the name on the back of the jersey. In crunch time, in a tie game, with the season and chemistry on the line, who is supposed to have the ball? Is it the 41-year-old forward whose free throw shooting has been shaky for years? Or is it the elite scorer averaging around 30 points a night, the guy the offense is supposed to run through? Kwame didn't hesitate. In his eyes, there is no debate. Luka is the number one option, period. And in NBA history, across eras, systems, and locker rooms, the number one option always touches the ball in those moments.
I'm confused on who's the number one option now. LeBron is going up to the free throw line taking free throws when he's a horrible free throw shooter compared to his teammates. Then when it's crunch time, LeBron is having a decent game, but Luka is averaging 30. He's the number one scorer on y'all team. Why doesn't he have the ball?
Kwame laid out the play that sparked all this anger. Tie game, pick and roll. LeBron hunts the matchup he wants, drives to the rim, and runs straight into Giannis, one of the best two-way defenders of this generation. Giannis doesn't hesitate. He doesn't bow down. He doesn't think about the moment or the name. He sends that shot back. And in that instant, Kwame says the real problem is exposed. That ball should never have been in LeBron's hands. It should have been swung to Luka and let him decide whether to shoot or create. That's basketball 101.
What I'm saying is, during that time, the ball should have been swung to Luka. Luka is the number one option, correct? There's no team that I've been on that the number one option don't get the ball during a tie score situation.
What makes this hit harder is that LeBron's entire career reputation has been built on making the right play. He's been praised for passing in clutch moments. He's been defended for not forcing shots. But Kwame argues that something has changed. This wasn't about basketball anymore. This was about ego. This was about LeBron hearing the noise, reading the comments, listening to Skip Bayless, seeing people say he's no longer the guy, and refusing to accept it. In Kwame's mind, this drive wasn't instinct, it was insecurity. Then there's the free throw situation, which Kwame absolutely torched. LeBron walking up to the line in key moments, taking free throws when he's objectively not the best shooter on the floor, is something that doesn't sit right with a lot of basketball purists. Kwame brought up the Suns game where LeBron bricked critical attempts and needed multiple tries just to get a couple points. Again, the issue isn't missing shots. Everyone misses. The issue is role clarity. If you're not the best option in that moment, why are you demanding the responsibility? Kwame connected all of this to something deeper: LeBron's contract situation. No extension, uncertainty about the future, rumors that this could be his last season in LA. According to Kwame, that frustration is bleeding onto the court. Instead of fully buying into a new hierarchy, LeBron is still trying to prove he's the alpha. Still trying to show the league, the front office, and the fans that he deserves top-tier money, even at 41 or 42 years old. And that, Kwame says, is why the ego keeps showing up at the worst possible times. This is where the conversation gets uncomfortable for LeBron fans. Kwame didn't just criticize the decision, he questioned the motive. He said LeBron cares more about his stat line than the result. He wants his 25, his 30, his 34 points so the headlines read a certain way after the game. Winning is nice, but the numbers are what protect the legacy. And when you hear that, it stings, because it challenges the entire narrative that LeBron has cultivated for 2 decades. Kwame even went further, saying the Lakers looked more connected without LeBron during his absence. That's a wild statement, but it's one more crack in the armor. He described LeBron coming back after a long break and disrupting chemistry, forcing the offense back into his rhythm instead of letting it flow through the younger star. Wins came, sure, but the cohesion wasn't the same. And in Kwame's view, that's not an accident. The Giannis moment mattered for another reason too. Kwame used it as a contrast. Giannis represents the old-school superstar archetype, a guy who plays both sides of the ball, who doesn't just chase points, who will guard the best player and still attack on offense. Kwame praised Giannis for not hesitating, for not showing reverence, for just playing basketball. That block wasn't personal, it was professional. And in Kwame's eyes, it symbolized the league moving past LeBron's era of automatic deference. This led into a much bigger critique of modern basketball. Kwame wasn't just mad at LeBron, he was mad at the system. A system that rewards points over defense, numbers over impact, contracts over championships. He argued that today's players are conditioned to chase averages because the media, the awards, and the money demand it. You don't get paid for shutting down the best player anymore. You get paid for dropping 30, even if your team loses. Kwame didn't spare Luka either. While he defended Luka as the clear #1 option offensively, he acknowledged the defensive limitations. He made it clear that in playoff and finals moments, defense still matters. And that's why the old legends were different. They carried the load on both ends. They adjusted their role based on the night. If the shot wasn't falling, they facilitated. If the matchup demanded defense, they locked in. That versatility is what defined greatness. According to Kwame, LeBron at 41 is doing the opposite. He's chasing the narrative that he's still dominant at an age no one else has been. He wants the comparisons. He wants the graphics. He wants to say, look what I'm doing at this age. And while that's impressive, Kwame believes it comes at the expense of team success. Because when you're obsessed with proving something individually, you stop trusting the collective. This is why Kwame keeps using the word fraud. Not to deny LeBron's career, but to describe what he's seeing right now. A player who talks about team basketball but demands the spotlight. A player who claims to make the right play but forces the issue when his pride is on the line. A player who says all the right things post-game but, according to Kwame, celebrates the stat line privately. What makes this debate so heated is that both sides can point to evidence. LeBron is still producing. The numbers are real. The longevity is unmatched. But basketball isn't played on spreadsheets. It's played in moments. And in that moment, with the game tied, Kwame believes LeBron failed the test. Not because he missed the shot, but because he took it. The bigger question now is what happens next. Do the Lakers fully commit to Luka as the closer? Do they redefine LeBron's role publicly, not just quietly? Or do they continue walking this tightrope where everyone pretends there isn't a hierarchy issue? Because the longer this goes on, the louder voices like Kwame Brown's are going to get. At the end of the day, this isn't about hate, it's about accountability. Legends aren't immune to criticism, especially when their decisions impact younger stars and team direction. Kwame is saying what a lot of people are thinking but are afraid to say out loud. The days of automatic LeBron deference might be over. And if LeBron can't accept that, then the friction isn't going anywhere. So now the ball is in LeBron's court, figuratively and literally. Does he truly step back and empower the next guy when it matters most? Or does the ego keep creeping in during those final possessions? Because in the NBA, reputations don't change overnight, but moments like this add up, and people are watching closely. At the end of the day, this situation says a lot more about where LeBron James is mentally than it does about one missed play. When you're truly secure in your role, you don't need to force moments. You don't need to prove anything in a tie game. You trust the system, you trust the hierarchy, and you trust the guy who's been carrying the scoring load all season. And right now, that guy is Luka. Whether LeBron fans like it or not, the numbers and the eye test both say the same thing. What makes this even more frustrating is that LeBron has always preached make the right basketball play. That's been his shield for years. But the right play isn't determined by legacy, contract status, or social media criticism. The right play is determined by who gives your team the best chance to win in that moment. And driving straight into one of the league's best defenders instead of putting the ball in your hottest scorer's hands simply doesn't pass that test. This is also why the conversation around LeBron feels different now. In the past, criticism bounced off him because the wins backed him up. Championships silenced everything. But now, when the Lakers struggle, when chemistry looks off, and when younger stars are clearly ready to take the keys, these moments get magnified. Every late-game decision becomes a referendum on whether LeBron is helping or holding things back. Kwame Brown isn't saying LeBron was never great. He's saying the league has changed, and LeBron hasn't fully accepted his place in that change. Great leaders know when to step forward and when to step aside. And if LeBron truly wants to extend his impact, that adjustment has to happen sooner rather than later. The scary part for the Lakers is that this isn't just about one season. This is about setting a direction. Are you building around the future, or are you clinging to the past because of name recognition and nostalgia? Because you can't do both at the same time. Eventually, someone has to be empowered fully, and half measures only create confusion in crunch time. Should Luka be the unquestioned closer, or does LeBron still deserve that responsibility? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this debate is far from over.